Hello everyone, and welcome to the Matrix Jstris League Season 2 playoffs. We're going to be starting in just a second with Firestorm versus Eddie. We're having a few technical difficulties right now, so just hold up real tight while we sort that out. In the meantime, let me just introduce the players. So Firestorm, aka Anomalous Aberration, has been a top level player for a long time now. He's probably one of the fastest players in the scene, and in games like Jstris he really excels because of how fast you can go in those kinds of games. I think you'll see him go for a lot of crazy setups, and he's probably the favorite to win this tonight. However, his opponent, Eddie, is no slouch. And he has very strong fundamentals, and we'll be seeing him do some really good timing in order to try to stem the crazy aggression coming out from Firestorm. And I think that'll be the theme of this match, of how well can Eddie slow down Firestorm. We're going to start in just a couple minutes. The players are warming up right now, and we're trying to mess with some technical difficulties in the room. But we'll be starting in just a second. Who's everyone rooting for? Put it in the chat. Eddie's having some internet troubles, so we're gonna pause for a little bit, get it started. They're still warming up right now. I see Firestorm's going for Eddie. Good shit, good shit. Players are still warming up right now. Might as well show the warm-ups, I guess. Let's go ahead and switch. So, shouldn't take these warm-ups too seriously. I'm sure the players are just getting their fingers warm. Not gonna pull up any secret strategies quite yet. But you can already see the pieces per second difference between the two, and you can see that that translates to an APM difference as well. However, I don't think this kind of speed difference is enough to completely decide the match. Sometimes if someone is way faster than the other person basically just doesn't even get to play the game. But that's definitely not the case here. Eddie is a really fast player himself. And with solid use of timing, I could definitely see him holding his own in this match. Perhaps even taking it. It's not a foregone conclusion by any measure. Once again, this is still the warm-ups. I'll let them know that we're ready to start whenever they are. I think this is the last warm-up, so we'll get started right after this. So this is going to be a first to 10. And I think we'll get started in a sec. Alright, so the players are going to start. Win counter is reset, and it's 0-0. So just like that, the semifinals are starting. So we have Firestorm going with that early perfect clear. It really pushes Eddie up to the top, and just like that, he's not able to get to that clean garbage in time. So 1-0, really quick start by Firestorm / Anomalous Aberration. Firestorm's a lot easier to say, so I'm just gonna call him Firestorm during the cast. And plus he goes by that more often anyway. Really good downstacking there by Eddie. He's getting pushed towards the top here, but he has some clean garbage, so I think he can get through it. That eyepiece is gonna come just in time. A really clean field on Firestorm's end, pushing Eddie towards the top, but he again has a lot of clean garbage, so I think he'll be able to get through this real quick. A really good spike sent over by him, but it's all cancelled by Firestorm real quick. It seems like that misdrop is going to hurt because Firestorm has a lot of lines coming. And just like that, it's 2-0 Firestorm. Really quick start by him. Looks like a little bit of a fancier opening coming on Firestorm's end. The name escapes me. I believe it's called a C-spin, but for some reason I can't think of it right now. There are a lot of openings in Tetris. Really good canceling on Eddie's part, staying in this game. Oh, unfortunate misdrop there. I think it was caused by the timing of when Firestorm sent those lines. Just like that is 3-0. Another early perfect clear on Firestorm's end. Eddie was trying to set up for 4 wide, but I would say perfect clears are probably the best counter to that. He manages to downstack through most of that clean garbage, but he still has a lot of garbage behind it. He's downstacking for his life right now. Firestorm continuing to be relentless with this aggression. Really hard to deal with when he's playing that fast. Eddie's going to have to find some way to slow him down. Just like that, it's 4-0 to Firestorm. Oh, that misdrop is going to hurt, unfortunately. It's going to be hard for Eddie to deal with this. And that's 5-0 to Firestorm. Really quick matches. Unfortunately, Firestorm didn't have the right pieces for his early perfect clear there, and so Eddie's going to get almost a full 4 wide off. Unfortunately, he messed it up a little bit at the end, or didn't have the right pieces, whichever it may be. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say he didn't have the right pieces. Again, Firestorm playing extremely quickly, maintaining almost 3.5 pieces per second in all of these matches, and a mid-game side 4 wide coming by him. Eddie doesn't have the firepower to be able to punish that, and so it's just going to KO him. Match continues. Eddie has yet to take a game, unfortunately. But he's pushing Firestorm to the top here, but so much clean garbage on Firestorm's side, he's just going to use this and clean it up real quick. But there's also clean garbage on Eddie's side, so a lot of it just cancels out, and both players are relatively close to the bottom of the screen now. It's sort of the seesaw garbage stage, as I like to call it, as both players just kind of send clean garbage back and forth to each other. And it's easy for both players to fix. And even though it looks like Eddie is near the top of his screen there, as you can see, he was able to get through it so quickly. As often happens in those kinds of situations. This is the longest game we've had so far, I believe. And Firestorm pushed to the top of his screen, but Eddie not able to finish it. Just like that, it's 7-0, Firestorm in the lead. Firestorm looking to take 3 more quick ones, and this might be a really close, really fast first match of the night. Just like that, it's 8-0. Got the early perfect clear again on Firestorm, disrupting Eddie's center 4 wide. It's a good idea by Eddie to go for the center 4 wide in the beginning, I think, because it gives him the opportunity to capitalize on any misdrops that Firestorm may make, because otherwise he might not have the required power output to punish him, considering how much slower he's playing than Firestorm right now. So if Eddie doesn't feel like he can play any faster, then he can go for something risky like that, because if it doesn't work out, it seemed like he wasn't doing very well anyway. And if it does work out, maybe it could net him a couple wins and give him some momentum, which he much needs right now. Pretty good downstack combo by Eddie, getting through a lot of that Swiss cheese garbage and getting all the way to the bottom. And Firestorm has a little bit of messy garbage on his side, but he's playing so fast right now, he's just turning it into attacks. And a really good Prophecy T-spin, good foresight there by Firestorm to see how that would work out. And a little bit of a fancier setup there, causing a huge spike going over to Eddie. He's going to downstack through it. Luckily, most of it was clean and he had the right pieces. Oh, that misdrop's going to hurt though. That might be fatal. But it doesn't look like Firestorm has anything set up immediately, so he's going to be okay. Very good by Eddie to quickly fix that. Both players canceling their attacks a little bit. Firestorm has a really big attack set up here. It looks like Eddie's gonna let him get away with it too. And that misdrop, that might be the game because Firestorm has a lot set up, but he's going for some really fancy stuff right now. Kind of playing with his food almost. In fact, he messed it up. And this might be Eddie's opportunity to take one game perhaps. Depends on how well Firestorm can downstack through this. And the answer is extremely well. Just like that, Firestorm goes unpunished. He's going to continue sort of styling in this game. Setting up some crazy attacks for sure. He's going for another one now. He's being very creative with his setups right now. Eddie has a little bit of garbage on his side, but really he needs to be setting up more attacks. He needs to punish Firestorm for these insane setups that he's going for. He should not be able to just get away with stuff like this. Firestorm playing with his food a little bit, and finally Eddie takes a win. Looks like Firestorm continues to play with his food as he goes for some more wild setups, but Eddie has quite the spike ready, but unfortunately he messed it up a little bit, so he's not going to get the intended effect. And somehow Firestorm managed to complete his T-spin triple setups there. Eddie may be a little bit frazzled by the pace of this match. He's definitely getting outspeeded. So it can be hard to get your footing when you're in that kind of a situation. Seems like both players are in a pretty comfortable position. I think Eddie has a little bit more messy garbage on his side, so it might be hard to get through. And also Firestorm is definitely attacking right now. That misdrop's going to hurt for Eddie. Looks like he's mostly able to get through it. Oh, he barely doesn't have the right pieces though. He's going to have to use the I piece in order to stack instead of to downstack, which is unfortunate. It's going to make this downstack just a little bit more delayed. But luckily, Firestorm didn't attack through that section, and so he ended up being safe. Pushing Firestorm to the top now, and he gets a second win in a row. Early attacks setting up by Eddie here. It's going to stop Firestorm from going for any of these fancy shenanigans. Firestorm had a little bit of a misdrop, but he cleaned it up really quickly. Eddie has a little bit of an attack set up if he can get to use it, but looks like he had to cut it short in order to cancel the incoming attack from Firestorm. Firestorm trying to do a T-spin triple there, but he doesn't have the correct piece to start it. And just like that, Eddie's taken the last 3 in a row. Going for another center 4-wide now. Hopefully he's able to set this up before this huge attack comes from Firestorm. He has a decently sized 4-wide right now. Unfortunately, had to break the combo. But overall, it's not the worst position right now. Firestorm doesn't have anything to send immediately, so I think Eddie has some time to clear through this. Firestorm actually dealing with some mess here, but Eddie is as well. The pace of the game slightly slowed down a bit here. But just like that, Firestorm immediately sets up 3 back-to-back T-spin triples. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the right pieces to execute on it, and it's 9-4. Eddie taking the last 4 straight. It's been game point for Firestorm for a long time now. Unable to seal the deal. Eddie messed up his center 4-wide there. He's going to have to downstack through this as quickly as possible as Firestorm has a huge attack set up. It's going to be a lot of lines. Eddie barely surviving. Firestorm's going to try to follow this up, but there's a lot of clean garbage on Eddie's side. He should be able to get through this fairly easily. Just comes down to the eyepieces, really. Really good that that Eddie put the overhang on the side that he did, because it led to a really nice downstack combo afterwards. But everything seems pretty clean on Firestorm's end right now, so he should be able to turn this into a pretty good attack. Whereas Eddie has some Swiss cheese garbage, so maybe he won't be able to clear it as cleanly. Unfortunately, had to use the eyepiece in his stack there, which is going to make this downstack a little more messy than perhaps he would have liked. Firestorm has a mid-game side 4-wide right now, but most of it got cancelled by a couple Tetrises on Eddie's end. This is a pretty close game right now, as both players doing their best to get through the garbage. Firestorm has a little bit of messy garbage to get through before he can get to the clean slot, but he still gets there with no problem. Eddie doing his best to pressure Firestorm right now. But it's tough. Really good downstack combo there, but Firestorm manages to cancel it, and now everything on Firestorm's side is clean. He's going to go for probably a big attack right now. He had to bail out of it because he didn't have the right pieces, but it still ended up being a decent attack. Lots of Swiss cheese garbage on Eddie's side. He needs to clean that real quick if he wants to keep up with the incoming attacks coming from Firestorm. Firestorm messed up his attack a little bit though. He turns it into something, but it gave Eddie the appropriate amount of time to almost cancel it. But just like that, Firestorm's going to take the first game. So that's 10-4, and the next match is going to be Wumbo versus 0T. So let's go ahead and update that. How do I update this? So Firestorm took the first game, and he's going to be playing the next match versus the winner of Wumbo and 0T. So as soon as they jump in the room, they're going to warm up and we'll be on our way. So these players, I think Wumbo is probably one of the most well-known players right now. His YouTube channel's been blowing up, so he plays pretty much every form of Tetris and super popular. 0T has been in the community for a really long time, does a lot of co-commentary with Blink, and so you guys have probably heard his voice if you've watched any of the big TTOs and other tournaments in the past. He does a lot of the commentary for finals and stuff like that, along with Microblizz and Blink. But he's definitely no slouch. Wumbo's probably a little bit more well-known to the casual Tetris crowd, and 0T is probably a little bit more well-known to the seasoned Tetris crowd. But both really big names, both very fast players. I think Wumbo is probably a little bit more consistent, but 0T has some high highs, I would say. He also has a really good stream, you should check it out. And yeah, so I think they're going to warm up real quick. Let me see if they need warm-ups. Looks like Wumbo's name is Squirtle in this one, so they're going to play one warm-up. You guys can watch it, why not? So again, this is going to be a warm-up game between 0T and Squirtle. You see they're just getting used to the tuning on Jstris. Getting their fingers moving. Both players just getting used to the feel a little bit. Looks like in the warm-up, 0T is playing a little bit faster. Looks like this is going to be the first game now. So it's 0-0. Looks like they didn't set the counter to 0. But that's okay. We can just subtract 1 from... I don't actually know who won the warm-up. Can someone tell me? Who won the warm-up? We're going to subtract 1 from somebody. I guess we'll see after this game, right? So it looks like both players have a really clean field right now. Squirtle had that fractal set up. Squirtle and Wumbo are equally fine to say, so I'll call him Squirtle since that's his name on this site. Again, both players have really clean boards right now, so it's just waiting for the first misstep or someone to go for some sort of crazy attack. Squirtle actually has a little bit of messy garbage on his side. but he's able to deal with that pretty quickly. Actually, both players have a little bit of messy garbage right now, but they both seem to be ignoring it and are continuing to cancel each other's T-spins. Squirtle now going for a little bit of an attack, but it all gets cancelled by 0T. This is a really this is a long first game. You see both players' pieces per second is starting to drop a little bit as they get fatigued from the length of the game. Tetris is definitely a sprint of a game. Games normally don't take very long, especially on Jstris. A lot of messy garbage on 0T's side. He's going to have to deal with this really quickly, otherwise Squirtle's going to punish. Squirtle is super consistent in this game. He will pretty much always punish if you ever have a misstep. He's really consistent in almost every game he plays. I think Squirtle, I probably see him misdrop the fewest times out of any of the other top players. It's actually a crazy amount of consistency. Especially it's impressive given how many different Tetris games he plays. 0T right now pushed up to the top. He's going to have to try to downstack through this. It looks like he makes it out. But Squirtle gets the first win. Oh, it looks like they did reset the counter. So Squirtle is 1-0. For some reason I didn't notice them reset the counter. Squirtle right now pushed to the top, but it looks like he has the right pieces to downstack. Still pushed to the top. He's been pressured for quite a while in this match. Good downstacking by Squirtle, really getting through all that. 0T wasn't really able to set up anything significant. It was sort of like a weird hybrid 3-wide type thing. Probably not the best way to punish, but he's still in an okay position because of how he played the beginning of the game, which was really strong. Squirtle is making his way through all this garbage still. He has a lot of clean garbage on his side now. 0T is going to have to deal with the messy garbage now, but he's being pretty quick about it and even throws in an attack in the middle there. Really strong attack coming from 0T, but most of it gets cancelled by Squirtle. But the problem with canceling most of something is that it ends up being messier garbage than it would have been if you had just accepted the whole thing. But Squirtle deals with that really quickly. Unfortunate S-piece placement on 0T's side is going to slow down this downstacking a little bit. And Squirtle's going to look to capitalize, but unfortunately not fast enough as 0T's out of there real quick. Little bit of messy garbage on Squirtle's side, but for the most part it's clean, and that's a pretty big spike sent over, but 0T managed to cancel just enough of it to survive. As the match continues. Looks like these games on average are much longer than the ones between Eddie and Firestorm. Both these players being a little bit less explosive, a little bit more timing based. And an interesting T-spin single as part of that downstack combo by 0T. Ends up sending a decent amount of garbage over to Squirtle, who now has to deal with this, and that eyepiece misdrop is going to spell doom. And 0T takes that next game. A 6-3 stack starting from 0T, and a center 4-wide from Squirtle. This is pretty much what he's known for. You won't see him do the center 4-wide as often in this game as he does in other games, just because Jstris cuts off lines if they go above the top of the screen, and so it's significantly nerfed in this game as opposed to other games. But you see him pulling it out there. And a weird pseudo center 4-wide coming out from 0T in the middle of that one. I think in general the center 4-wide really suits Squirtle's playstyle in how methodical he is and how he's not really the fastest player, but is extremely consistent. And if you're consistent, super high APM starter that requires a lot of precision, like the center 4-wide, I think suits him, which is why you see him go for that a lot. But you know, Squirtle can really go for everything. In fact, I think his versatility has definitely increased as of late because of the bounties that he tries to do. It sort of forces him to learn other things. Oh, that misdrop is going to hurt from 0T, but somehow he cleans it up. That actually might have been a visual glitch. I'm not sure if that was actually a misdrop. I think that eyepiece actually cleared and just I'm not sure. Someone's going to have to tell me on that one. A little bit of a misdrop on Squirtle's end, but he cleans that up. Really solid downstacking by him, and now 0T has some clean garbage, but some messy garbage underneath. Although Squirtle is about to send a huge spike here. He needs to send it as quickly as possible, so that 0T can't just cancel the whole thing. But it looks like he's not able to do so. 0T pretty much cancels the entire spike, and now has his own spike to send. Unfortunately, not quite fast enough on the execution there. An interesting hybrid combo coming out from Squirtle in the mid game. Sends a little bit of messy garbage over to 0T that he's going to have to deal with. It's not enough to give a decisive advantage though, as 0T has already sort of dealt with it. A pretty decent spike from Squirtle there, pushing 0T near the top. Let's see if he can follow up on it. He's doing his best, setting up more attacks here. 0T definitely has to get to this clean garbage, but he's not able to do so. Just like that, it's 2-1 in Squirtle's favor. It's 2-1 currently. I see some people are asking about the score in the chat. Squirtle is up 2-1. A little bit of messy garbage on 0T's side and a misdrop there. Let's see how he deals with it. It's going to turn it into a mini downstack combo. Oh, that eyepiece misdrop is going to spell doom though. And just like that, it's 3-1 in Squirtle's favor. Squirtle going for the center 4 wide again. Looks like he's able to get about half a screen's worth off. He really pushes 0T all the way to the top, and that follow-up is enough to end it. And I didn't catch the score there, but I believe it's 4-1 now. Another center 4 wide coming from Squirtle. A little bit of a different residual, a little bit of a more advanced center 4 wide you can go for in certain situations. Squirtle's waiting right now. He's waiting. You see he accepts a lot of garbage there, and now he's going to use that all to send it right back. It's a really good strategy you can use if you see that the opponent has messy garbage in order to make them send you clean garbage. It was a good idea to go for, but looks like it didn't quite work out, as 0T was extremely fast about downstacking through all of that. A little bit of a misdrop on Squirtle's end, but he turns it into an attack and is able to use it to cancel. Both players pushed towards the middle of their screen, but 0T has a little bit messier garbage, so it's going to be harder for him to deal with it. He barely doesn't have the right pieces and is not able to get the combo there. Another center 4 wide coming out from Squirtle. Looks like a botched GT cannon coming out from 0T. Unfortunately, he's not going to slow down the center 4 wide at all, and this is pretty much GG. Nothing he can really do there. And that's the power up the center 4 wide. Even in Jstris, no one is safe. Squirtle messes up the center 4 wide there. He's going to bail out of it. He's going to mostly just look to downstack at this point. 0T does a really good job of early pressure there, which is really the best thing you can do against a center 4 wide. Is once it gets set up, it's really hard to deal with. So you want to decrease the height of it as much as possible while they're setting it up, which is why you saw Firestorm going for those those early perfect clears in order to counter Eddie's center 4 wides in that match. Granted, there was a bit of a speed differential in that one, so maybe sort of the effect of that gets overstated a little bit. But right now, a really good Super T-spin double coming out from 0T, but then he misdrops on top of it, so now he's going to have to deal with that. Oh, unfortunately, was not able to use his eyepiece the way he wanted. He used the J instead, and that was enough to spell doom. As Squirtle's lead continues to grow. Another center 4 wide coming from him. I'm surprised he's going for it this often, considering that the strength is weakened quite a bit in this game. 0T able to defend against that one. He actually eliminated, I think, 2 combos worth of rows with his early pressure. Really good by him. Especially in Jstris, that's definitely what you want to look to do, is waste the opponent's time by making him set up more rows and then taking it away with your early pressure. If you can time your garbage to do that, it's really effective. Both players have relatively clean screens right now. 0T having a little bit of trouble of how to deal with this, but Z-Spin cleans up his screen real quick, but unfortunately it did waste a little bit of time, which allowed Squirtle to set up an attack here. But it looks like 0T able to very quickly match the attack, and he ends up sending it quickly. And Squirtle has a deadly misdrop there, and just like that, it's I believe 7-2, Squirtle's favor. It's the second game that 0T has won. Another center forward coming from Squirtle. I think one of the lines got cancelled. Maybe 0 actually. And wow, that was an extremely fast execution of the center forward. And I believe the score is now 8-2. A really good early perfect clear coming from 0T, which is gonna stuff most of this forward. Squirtle unfortunately not having the right pieces to even execute on it, so it's gonna slow him down significantly. But 0T didn't really have that much of a follow-up there, and so not able to capitalize on his early victory. Squirtle now fully recovered in this game, and 0T is the one with some messy garbage that he's going to have to get through. It's a JP's misdrop, and it's in an unfortunate place because it's sort of right in front of the garbage that he wants to get rid of. Looks like he barely has the right pieces to almost get through this, and luckily Squirtle doesn't send anything in that pivotal time period. And 0T barely able to recover it there. Really good downstacking by him. And he's trying to set up some sort of an attack right now. It's mostly going to be used to cancel out Squirtle's huge attack that he had set up at the time. Both players pretty much exchanging clean garbage at this point. Going to be canceling each other out a lot. And pretty even feels at this point. Any garbage that either player has is pretty clean. And they both should be able to cancel each other out at a moment's notice. A little bit of messy garbage on 0T's side, but it looks like his pieces are in a right place, although that misdrop is gonna hurt. He cleans it up super quickly. He just barely even noticed it. And Squirtle continues to go for this interesting downstack combo that he has. It's gonna send a lot of messy garbage over to 0T. Squirtle really likes to use messy garbage when he's in a neutral state in order to throw off his opponent, it seems. At least he's doing that a lot this match. A little bit of Swiss cheese garbage on Squirtle's side, but it looks like 0T had a little bit of a misdrop that he had to clean up, so he wasn't able to capitalize on it. And just like that, a huge spike over from Squirtle. It's going to put him at game point. It's 9-2. Another center forward coming from Squirtle. Ooh, it looks like it was enough to take it. And just like that, Squirtle takes it over 0T. So the finals, which are coming up right now, are going to be Squirtle versus Firestorm. Let's see, Squirtle probably needs a little bit of a break since he just played a game, and Firestorm got a break. So it's only fair, I think. So we'll see what's going on here. Let's see if he needs a break. And so the finals of this are going to be Wumbo versus Firestorm. Firestorm definitely is the favorite in this match. They've played a lot before, Wumbo and Firestorm, and in Jstris specifically, Firestorm absolutely has the edge. Although it does go back and forth a little bit, but Wumbo definitely has a better case in other versions of Tetris than Jstris. Jstris is pretty favored towards Firestorm. So they're going to take a little bit of a break. So in the meantime, let us update the title. So this is going to be Wumbo versus Firestorm. Who you guys rooting for? Tell me in the chat. Talk to me. We have some time here, so let me interact with the chat a little bit. What's up, Fizzle? Fizzle says go Firestorm. Who else is in the chat? I see M Rose. I see Firestorm himself. What's up, Zach? What's up, Artemis? Looks like a lot of support for Firestorm in the chat. Firestorm, as usual, cheering for his opponent. He likes to do that. Silly guy. Looks like we have 20 viewers right now. It's been slowly growing. How was everyone's 4th of July? Bros cheering for top out. RIP that team. Firestorm's just grabbing some water right now, although I think he's back. Squirrel's taking a little bit of a break. Talk about my thoughts on the league. The league is awesome. The more high-level Tetris play there is, the better. And seeing all these really good players participating in it just increases the prestige that's associated with the league, which is always a good thing. It's really good to see these players battling it out, and the rivalries that have existed for a long time continue to develop. Every player is trying to improve. Looks like the players are warming up right now. They're going to play one warm-up and then get started. So let me just go ahead and switch scenes so you guys can watch the warm-up. See Firestorm doing some silly things in the warm-up. Yeah, the Twitch profile picture probably should be changed, but you know what? Progress is slow sometimes, you know? Alright, looks like they're gonna get started. Oh, Squirtle's calling to wait up a bit, probably just adjusting something real quick. But we'll be starting in just a second. Yep, he's ready. And they're gonna get started. Just like that, it's 0-0. Firestorm going for the early perfect clear. It doesn't have the right pieces though. Squirtle once again going for the center 4 wide, but you see the difference in speed from Firestorm, able to stuff any attempt at that sort of thing. Pseudo perfect clear from Squirtle, just showing off that he can do it even though he has the garbage, so it's not gonna count for anything. You see Firestorm playing at insane speeds as usual, but with great speed comes great misdrops, so wise man said. That wise man was me just now. I just came up with that. And the double center 4 wide coming right now. Looks like Squirtle's is a little bit higher. Let's see if Firestorm's able to cancel this out. He cancels out most of it, but Squirtle has another 4 wide set up. Looks like it's a side 4 wide, which is a little bit dangerous, but it might pay off as a big spike going over to Firestorm. Just like that, it's 2-0 for Squirtle, looking to pull off this upset, making adjustments since the last time these two played on Jstris. You'll love to see it. Firestorm thinking that maybe he could get a perfect clear there. You saw him pause, but wasn't able to find it, and the pause was enough for Squirtle to take a 3-0 start over this. Really good perfect clear coming out by Firestorm, and that was almost a second perfect clear, I think, but Squirtle able to send pieces at the last second to stuff it. Firestorm now setting up the side 4 wide, doesn't have the right pieces to start it, but somehow manages to make it work anyway. And that huge spike is going to be enough to KO Squirtle. 3-1 in Squirtle's favor. Pretty normal looking TKI started from Firestorm, but he turned it into a T-spin triple somehow. As a TKI user myself, I'm going to have to go back and watch how he did that. It was pretty cool. Squirtle has a pretty normal looking board right now. Both players have a pretty normal looking board right now. Squirtle has a little bit of messy garbage on his side, but for the most part, it's pretty clean. Firestorm doesn't really have anything to capitalize on it right now, but you know, knowing Firestorm, he could have something in like less than a second, and that misdrop is gonna spell doom for Squirtle. And just like that, Firestorm has essentially closed the gap here. Center 4 wide from Squirtle, and a really lucky garbage slot gives him the win there, 4-2 in his favor. Doesn't want to let Firestorm catch up for sure. Another center 4 wide on Squirtle's side. And Firestorm definitely slowing down here. He knows that he wasn't fast enough at stopping the 4 wide in that case, and so chooses to give up rather than try for it. Perfect clear coming out on his end. This is going to be enough pressure to stop the 4 wide for sure. Somehow Squirtle finds a spike out of nowhere, surprising me and Firestorm. More importantly, Firestorm. And a really high APM opener from Firestorm here is going to completely stop any attempt at a 4 wide from Squirtle. Let's see if he can follow it up. Really insane APM coming out from Firestorm right now. You see that 170 APM that game. He's really favoring these perfect clear starts right now in order to stuff the 4 wides. Squirtle gets lucky with the garbage hole placement again. It's going to be pretty easy for him to cancel this pressure coming from Firestorm. And it's going to end up in a pretty even situation. So really good openers by both players there. Firestorm messing up his setup a little bit, but he downstacks to that really quickly. Turns it into a 6-3 stack. Squirtle has some pretty clean garbage on his end that he uses for a little bit of a spike that gets mostly canceled by Firestorm. It's hard to commentate these players, they're too fast. By the time I say something, like 3 other things have happened. Oh, Squirtle doing his best to get to that T-spin setup that he had, but unfortunately didn't have the right pieces, and Firestorm took the win on that one. Another center 4 wide coming from Squirtle. He's really favoring it in this match. Even more so than he did against 0T. I think if Squirtle takes this match, most people would consider that an upset, considering this is being played on Jstris, which absolutely has favored Firestorm in the past. So really good job by him. Oh, a little bit of sloppy finesse coming out from Firestorm's end, which slows him down a little bit. But, you know, it doesn't really affect things too much. And I'd say he probably has a slight advantage in the board state right now, as he's trying to pressure Squirtle highly towards the top. Has a weird bastardized 3 wide going on. But sends a lot of messy garbage over to Squirtle. Let's see if he's able to follow it up. He's going for Tetrises, and here's a T-spin. Oh, that's a pretty bad misdrop on Squirtle's end. Game continues. Oh, messes up. I don't even know if that was a mess up. That was it looks like a C-spin into a DT cannon. Very high APM opening coming out from Firestorm. Pretty much as high APM as you can get without going for the perfect clear. But Squirtle has some brilliant downstacking there. Comes up with a spike out of nowhere. Unfortunately, has a misdrop this game, and Firestorm's looking to capitalize off of it. Looks like it's is it tied up or is it 6-7? These players are so fast at starting the next game. I can't even look at the score. Firestorm looking to cancel this, but isn't quite able to do so. And Squirtle is ahead 8-6. I was able to look at the score that time. 158 APM coming out from Squirtle that time, as he goes for another center 4 wide here. He's getting lucky with the garbage hole placement again, which is able to send a huge spike over to Firestorm, who's barely able to cancel enough to stay alive. But it looks like Squirtle has a little bit of a follow-up combo. Still not enough, as Firestorm made a net gain of, or a net loss of garbage during that exchange. Able to downstack really quickly. It still has some messy garbage on his side, but it doesn't look like Squirtle has anything to capitalize for it. So Firestorm will most likely be able to get through all of this real quick. Squirtle has a little bit of an attack set up right now, but it's not enough to slow down Firestorm as he continues to work his way through the messy garbage. And now it's pretty much back to even, as you see Firestorm going for a mid-game center 4-wide here. A little bit risky. Squirtle doesn't really have anything to counter it, so he's gonna take some garbage here. He countered enough that he only ended up taking about half a screen's worth of garbage, so he should be able to get through this pretty quickly. But Firestorm's looking to pressure right now with a little bit of a 7-2 stack. A little unorthodox, but it works. The pressure continues with these back-to-backs, but Squirtle's able to counter most of it. He has some messy garbage, but he's looking to cancel using his T-spins as much as possible. Pretty good downstack combo there, but Firestorm just sending too many lines. Just like that, it's 8-7 in Squirtle's favor. Firestorm finds that perfect clear, and it really cancels a huge amount of the 4-wide from Squirtle's end. It really stunts that combo, but the garbage hole is in a good place for him, so he's able to send a pretty decent spike anyway. Really good for Squirtle to be able to find that despite his 4-wide getting completely stuffed there. So really good stuff in the beginning of this game by both players, and Squirtle unfortunately has a misdrop now, and he's not able to clear it in time. So it's all tied up, 8-8. Super close match by these players. Fancy setup coming on from Firestorm right now. Really high APM, forcing Squirtle to not go for his center 4-wide right there. Although I don't know if he was going to go for it anyway. It didn't look like he wanted to that game. Squirtle has some Tetrises set up. Both players have pretty clean garbage at this point. And Firestorm takes the lead just like that. It's 9-8. Game point for Firestorm. Able to make this comeback just in time. And Squirtle luckily has the center 4-wide to cancel most of the early game pressure coming from Firestorm, and I'd say Squirtle's at a slight advantage right now, but the garbage is pretty clean on Firestorm's end, so he should be able to get through this pretty quickly. Extremely good pressuring there, forcing Squirtle near the top of his screen, but Squirtle had some attacks as well, so some of it was cancelled. A little bit of messy garbage on Squirtle's side, but he should be able to deal with it. I don't think Firestorm has anything immediately, so should be okay for Squirtle to get through this. Firestorm doing his best to pressure though. He's really prolonging this messy situation on Squirtle's end, but finally Squirtle gets through it. And now it's Firestorm that has a little bit of messy garbage on his end, but he looks like he's in a good spot to deal with it, and he gets to his clean garbage real quick. And Squirtle has the messier field right now. I'd say Firestorm definitely has a distinct advantage if he's able to capitalize on it. Good pressure coming from him. Going for this T-spin now to capitalize on it. Unfortunately didn't quite have the right pieces, so the Tetris didn't have the back-to-back bonus. Not quite as strong pressure as he could have hoped for. And at this point, game's pretty even. Squirtle has some garbage, but Firestorm doesn't really have anything to do for it. Unfortunately, he didn't see that his right column wasn't all the way down stacked, and so his T-spin that he was going for didn't quite work there. Squirtle really pushed towards the top of his screen, but it's pretty clean, so if he gets the right pieces, he should be able to come out of this one. And he needs to, because this is game point on Firestorm's end. Amazing downstack combo coming from him, almost KOing Firestorm, but he has the cancel just in time. A little bit of a mini 4-wide coming on Squirtle's end. More of a downstack combo than a 4-wide, I would say, since it sort of came up from happenstance rather than through planning. Squirtle continues to make his way through this garbage as Firestorm is doing his best to pressure. Firestorm looking to end it right here. Really good downstack combo coming from Squirtle. This is a really good game. Both players, it's really going back and forth right now. Squirtle's been pushed to the top many times, but he continues to recover each time. And Firestorm's board is almost clear right now. Going for a fractal setup, but isn't able to execute it the way that he wants, so not quite as APM intensive as he would have liked there. Has a little bit of trouble downstacking through that, which is going to give Squirtle time to give him a lot of messy garbage, and Squirtle's doing his best to capitalize on this right now. He needs to send garbage right now if he wants to, because he's getting a lot of garbage on his own field right now. A lot of messy garbage on Firestorm's side, but Squirtle has a misdrop, which means this might spell the end. And just like that, Firestorm takes an extremely close match, 10-8. Wow. GG's to both players and to the semifinal players. Really good games all along, and that was a pretty hype end to the game. Let's see if Firestorm wants to do a quick interview. Let's see here. Let's turn off the music. And let's go to the title screen. Let's change the text. Post-match interview with Firestorm. All right, what's up, Firestorm? You wanna talk or no? Is he watching right now? Oh, Mr. Firestorm. He does. Awesome. All right, let me call you on Discord real quick. So we're calling Firestorm right now. We're going to do a quick post-match interview with him. I am calling you. Hello. Can you hear me?
Going. Let me mute the stream so I don't get an echo.
Yeah,
There
sure.
we go.
All right, so first of all, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So I guess let's walk through the games a little bit. So your first game was against Eddie. Had you guys played much before? I feel like I haven't seen you guys play too much in the past.
I think that was the first time we played
Okay.
style.
Well, did you have any special
But,
plans going into that one, or were you pretty much just going to go with your default game plan?
Basically just went with my default game plan.
I saw you going
Honestly.
for a lot of early perfect clears. Is that something you've been favoring recently?
No, I just honestly I pulled them instinctively, I guess, because I used to always do the perfectly opener.
I see. So it's something you're really comfortable with.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on doing the perfect clear. It's just kind of so.
All right. So let's go to your match with Wumbo, aka Squirtle. So you guys have played a lot. So I guess what's been the recent trend between you guys? Because I feel like depending on the game that you guys are playing, you go back and forth a little bit. But generally in Jstris, you tend to be favored. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe so. I think Wumbo and I have played 7 sets on Jstris, and usually it's in my favor.
Nice.
It's surprising.
He really came out of the gate this time, though, and had a lot of early victories. Do you think that's something he switched up against you this time, or do you think you were just not playing as well as usual, or what do you think happened in the beginning?
It was just a lot of spikes that I usually don't get from the forward.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to figure it out while I was playing.
I see. So
Think
you had trouble
I would-
matching his four-wide a little bit this time.
I think Jstris Cup #1, because I rewatched the replay of that recently. What happened was I would receive some of the garbage from his forward and use that to block it, and I didn't do that this time.
I see. Is that an adjustment you made later on because you managed to make the comeback near the end, or did you switch up something else?
I decided to go faster and hope I didn't miss drop and try to just spam as many lines as possible.
I see. So it was less about you switching something up strategy in my eyes and more about you just playing better.
Well,
Do you think he also played worse later on?
so I tried to not play as fast as I can in Jstris, because if you do that, you miss some stuff. Once I was dying from the forward, I thought I had to go as best as I could in the opener so I can receive lines much as I could to stop the forward.
I see. Okay. Anything else you wanted to say to the stream before we close down?
Squirtle's watching. Good job today. I definitely think that's the closest we've had on Jstris. I was surprised by his improvement.
Awesome. All right. Well, congratulations again, and yeah, I'm sure I'll talk to you again at some point. I seem to interview you a lot, so.
Second time.
Yeah. Well, second out of 2. No one else wants to interview, so. Yeah.
I like talking.
Nice. All right. Well,
good night.
Congratulations again, and good night. All right, so that's it for the night. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream, And GG's to everyone. Congratulations to Firestorm again. Congratulations to everyone who played today. They all made top 4, so it's impressive for sure. And yeah, I'm signing out.